if you were the American think tank, or let us say their strategic thinker, at what time the Americans would be thinking of engaging China militarily, or in other ways other than economy, because we do understand that even militarily means a lot as far as nowadays is concerned. So in your opinion, will they wait for the Chinese to come at par militarily and technologically also, or they would like to preempt? Because you're talking about deterrence. Deterrence means that they just don't want Chinese to go a certain way. But will they actually do something to make a dent, a preemptive dent in the Chinese ascendancy elsewhere other than economy? Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Lodhi. First of all, it's a good idea to give the video to the National Defense University. And I want this, in fact, that is why I was suggesting, please put it on the social media also, because this is how you generate the discussions. There's nothing classified that I have spoken. These are all my analysis, and I'm very happy to share that. Now, coming to a good question that you have put to me about a military engagement and at what stage. Now, we all have, done some, I have done a bit of service in the military, plus done a lot of reading. What happens is that a country only goes to war when it feels that it can control the war, when it can control the escalation ladder. So the reason why America and China today are building conventional deterrence as well as nuclear deterrence is that neither side will be, first of all, sure of war control. Neither side will be confident that if the war is joined, we'll be able to sort of control it or go, it can go according to a plan. Number two, the problem gets aggravated because of the emerging technologies and artificial intelligence. This is where both the countries are putting a lot of money, and this is where I said that the war, not only the character of war, the nature of war will change also. Let me explain this. The character of war basically means it keeps changing whenever the technology is inducted into any military. Then what they do is they come up with new war concepts so that they can optimize the use of the new technology. That is called the character of war. Nature of war is basically about violence and bloodshed.
Right.
And the nature of war has been constant right from when war came into being, or what we know of war. But now we see a possibility, if the war will be robotized, will the nature of war also change? I mean, this is another debate we should take on another day. You see, a robotized war, then who wins? So when we are talking of this artificial intelligence and new technologies, we are not talking of tangible assets. We are not talking of hardware. We are talking of software. And the other side will never know. There's nothing called an arms race in emerging technology. It is not that you have 10 tanks and he has 50 tanks, so there is an arms race, you have to catch up. You don't even know that this guy has got killer robots, because all that needs is a software change. You don't know that. So the point I'm making is that all that is happening today in South China Sea, it's happening in Taiwan Strait. These are operations what are called the gray zone operations, below the threshold of war. If you recall, the Americans were very keen. They have put in repeated requests that they would want their Defense Secretary General Lloyd Austin to meet up with the number 2 man, the senior most Vice Chairman Shi Long. Whatever his name's pronunciation, I generally get it wrong, but you would have understood what I'm saying. So, but the Chinese have denied it. Why the Chinese have denied it is because the Chinese do not want to spell out their red lines. Because if they spell out their red lines, that the Americans can do a lot below the red lines, within those red lines. And which is why Biden has made it very clear that our relationship with China will be three C's. It will be confrontation, it will be cooperation, and it will be competition. So the confrontation, to my mind, will be minimal. And what happens will happen in the gray zone areas. So I rule out completely a war. There will be no war at all between America and China, and anybody who is talking of war does not make any sense to me. As a person who's been studying war for, nearly 4 decades now, it does not make sense at all, because why would I want to go to war? If a war is thrust on me, I can understand. I have to fight. But why will I initiate war if I cannot achieve my tangible objectives, and if I cannot, to achieve the tangible objectives, if I cannot do war control? You see, so it will be about denial, it will be about deterrence. That is my assessment on the subject. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A point which you have brought out is very interesting, that not only the character of war is changing, but also the nature of war. I think if you write anything on this subject, please let us know. We would like to study that.
My book is coming. My book is coming. I'll be telling the publishers, see if it goes to Pakistan.
It will. I think if you write on the changing nature of war, which I also think the same way. Probably that is that thing should be taught at all the military schools and universities. So if there can be no war, then whatever we call this this competition, but still the two powers or the two blocks would like to embarrass each other in one way or the other. If, let us say that whenever there's a competition, actually one side tries to. So I have an apprehension, and I want to share it with you, and then you will please respond. That whenever the big titans, they cannot clash directly with each other in whatever way. Now, I'm not saying that clash will be war. So they try to find out their allies or smaller countries dependent with them, and they can then do something big to those small countries and then create an embarrassment for the bigger one. For example, what I am thinking is that if America willfully pushes Pakistan towards China, we have been trying our best to keep a balance, and but if they willfully pushes us towards China, and then with the help of India teaches us a lesson in whatever way, they can embarrass China indirectly. Same way China can do, if they do something with India. So what are the prospects of this thing happening? Because this directly impacts our region, your country and my country.
You have raised some interesting points, and my response is this. First of all, what will happen in the competition? So a war is ruled out, but what is likely to happen is there could be a decoupling of supply chain, global supply chains, which again is not making sense to me, but a possibility exists that it is possible, because this is the way the two trajectories are going. Number two, what can happen is that the cyberspace, the internet again could be divided. This possibility also exists. We are looking at an entirely different, we are actually living in very interesting times.
True.
These are those times when the world has never seen all this happening. You see? Now, coming to the question of America trying to push Pakistan, there is a very interesting comment which was made yesterday in Delhi by the US Deputy Secretary of State Sherman, who is now in Pakistan, I think. Right. She made it very clear that we cannot go back to the old relationship of dehyphenated relationship with India and Pakistan, because our requirement with the two countries are entirely different. So, as far as the Americans are concerned, Pakistan is already in the, I don't want to use the word camps. Camp, talks about some military, whatever. So basically, when you are a key player in the BRI and you have a CPEC, which is the flagship of BRI, then you are one of the very important countries for the Chinese. So there's no question of pushing. This could be the reason that Biden has still not spoken with Imran Khan. You see, could be one of the reasons that, look, what is the point? Our interest in Pakistan are very narrow. I mean, it's counter-terrorism, it's Afghanistan, they're very narrow interest. But their interest with India is will determine basically the future of the Indian Ocean region. So this is where I always I'm apprehensive about what will happen because the Chinese are already supposedly occupying area in Ladakh. You see, so but this is a subject we can talk another day. It's a very comprehensive subject. So the long and short is we will be seeing very different outcomes because of this global competition. It will not be proxy wars and this. I mean, it will be because as far as the Chinese are concerned, they are not joining issues. Chinese are putting a lot of money in their military power. They are creating, they are getting into the robotization of war. They are preparing deterrence. They are preparing a credible deterrence so that the Americans are not tempted to go to war with them, period. This is the way I see it.
Right. Quite plausible. And in your opinion, the way things are going as far as Quad is developing and whatever has happened in Afghanistan and even elsewhere, in your opinion, the relationships between the two neighbors, India and Pakistan, they are likely to further antagonize, and the animosity will further deepen, or it could be the other way, if we look at all the developments which you and me have been talking about.
My personal thinking is, and I'll tell you why I say that. See, when you make foreign policy, when you make military plans, it is very different from when we talk strategy. Why it is different is because strategy provides you the bridge between the political thinking, the political policy of a country, and the military plans of a country. The bridge is provided by a strategy. How do you bridge the two things? Making a military plan is easy. I mean, you have a format, you make a military plan according to that.
Right.
These are my war appreciation and this and that. But making a strategy is very difficult. If India was to sit back and think about strategy, because after all, what does India want? India wants prosperity for its own people. And I believe that prosperity is not possible without peace with Pakistan, period. It is not possible. If India wants prosperity, India has to make peace with Pakistan. We have to start talking, and we have to start talking all issues. All issues have to be on table. There is no way. Otherwise, you see, India can keep talking about that we are in touch with America, but without your neighborhood is about Pakistan, essentially. That is what it is. You have to make peace. So this is my thinking on the subject.
I think this, and let me complete the other half, that even the Pakistan cannot prosper without talking to India and resolving our issues. Taqir Saab, anybody else who wants to ask anything from Pravin Saab? Ji, Taqir Saab.
Sir, I have received the questions from the panel. I think Taqir Saab.
Taqir Saab has raised his hand. Let him first ask. Ji, Taqir Saab, your mic is muted.
Ji, thank you very much, General Lodhi. Actually, my simple and innocent question was that what is the objective of this Quad, but I think it had been answered very professionally. My opinion is that if you, when we talk about war between China and US, the issue is if you push someone into a corner, what that country is going to do. Is he going to sit down and see what's going to happen with them? And secondly, I think whoever has a power in space technology and laser technology will have the superiority in the future. So I think I will a bit disagree about the war. I think um, Americans will provoke China towards a war, maybe in 10, 15, or 20 years. What will be the end? That we never know. So that my question was that how about the space technology and why Americans have established a space force? What is the purpose of space force? Thank you.
You see, let us agree to disagree on the first point. But having said that, let me say that you actually have made a good point, and you are correct to an extent, but in a different way. This is what I have discussed in my book. So I would like to talk here.
Right.
Coming to space. You see, space. Let's get that very correct. China today has the second largest satellites in orbit. It has more satellites than Russia, second largest in the world. Not only that, in 5 key areas. What are these areas? Earth remote sensing architecture, global navigation system BEDU, human space program. They have established this year a space station, robotic exploration program, and counter space program. They are there in all these 5 areas. What this means is that the belief is, since the first Gulf War of 1991, that this is the PLA belief, that if you want supremacy on land, terrestrial supremacy requires space supremacy. I would say that this argument today is not 100% correct, because other domains also have come in, which will contribute. But yes, let's not underwrite the importance of space. And this is precisely why in 2018, the Americans created the fifth service, the Space Force, after the Land, Air, Sea, Marines, and now the Space Force. So you're absolutely right in saying this about the importance of space. I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hamad, now you can bring those questions which you have received from elsewhere.
Questions from our panelists. That first question is about Mr. Pravin. First question is about the Trump's Trump-China policy in comparison with Biden's China policy. Our panelist is saying that, in her opinion, Trump was more clear about China containment policy than Biden. What are your views on that?
See, first of all, let me start with the word containment. I am one person who does not believe that China is rising. I believe China has risen. China is not rising at all. So the moment we see rising and risen, we get things wrong. And this risen thing, why I'm saying this is, there is a reason. The reason is, please recall, all the military people will know this, that in 2014, the Americans came up with their third offset strategy. And that offset strategy was directed towards China, great power competition. That means in 2014, there was a clarity that we have to compete with the PLA and China. There was clarity. So around that time, China had risen. So you cannot stop China's rise. That is point number one. Now, containment. How do you contain a risen country? So I have problem with this word as well. So the word has to be competing with China. And that is what we have discussed today. Yes, there is a competition, and see, whether it is Trump or Biden, it's a bipartisan competition in Congress. So to say Biden was more, Trump was more, I mean, he's gone. Present administration, in 1 year, they have done a hell of a lot. I mean, to hold 2 summit meetings of Quad is not a mean thing. It's not something to be overlooked. It's very significant. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. So thank you. The second question is about the Chinese cooperation model. This question is from you can say, I have raised the question that Chinese model is more promising and systematic than compared to the American model. As Americans have introduced, they have talked about B3W, Build Back Better World, but we have never heard after that White House press briefing anything. And other than the Australia, UK, US, and now this Quad. So, what do you think that we are witnessing Chinese projects and Chinese commitment on the ground, but Americans are on the papers and only seen in the media. What do you say about this?
So you see, these are two different models altogether, which is why a Cold War will never happen. That's point number one. They are different models. Why I'm saying that the chances of the Chinese model of prevailing is because it offers prosperity. Having said that, even the American model until the coming of Trump was good. Why it was good is because when Obama was the president, they used to use the word first rebalancing. What rebalancing meant was two things. It was rebalancing of assets from Atlantic to Pacific Command, and it was rebalancing through the TPP, Trans-Pacific Alliance. They had the commercial thing in place over which 6 years President Obama had worked. But when Trump came, and in any case before him, the Congress rejected that. And Trump wanted to then go for the bilateral things. That is the way he thought he'll make America first. So unfortunately, now it has become imbalanced, and instead of calling it a rebalancing of forces, it is better to call a pivot. Pivot is a military term. The Americans have pivoted to Asia Pacific, whereas the Chinese are offering prosperity through BRI. Entirely different models. Actually, they can run parallel. They don't compete anywhere. The only place where they compete is, and where the competition is fierce, and which is why the tech war is going on. What we hear, the tech war, technology war between America and China, it is about the emerging technologies. And this tech war will not get less, will not subside. It will not happen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, our next question that I have received is about your mention of American commitment to Quad. What do you think of the diplomatic stature of American commitment after the abrupt withdrawal from Afghanistan and what they did to Iran-US nuclear deal? So how will you see that American guarantee will work? Because many institutions and many scholars have questioned American as guarantor in any other international agreement or in any international cooperation.
So there are three things here which we have to consider. The first thing is universal for all nations. And the first thing is that every nation will always see its national interest and not the interest of the other nation. That is point number one. Point number two is, please remember that America has created all the institutions, global institutions, after the Second World War. So whether it is proliferation, anything what is there, or it is the UN, or it is the World Bank, they have a certain responsibility. They cannot go away from that responsibility.
Thank you.
So to say that we will have an equal partnership with America, any nation, will not happen. And the third is that the Americans are not used to partnership. Americans have always believed, and especially the last 25 years until 2015, 14, when I said the third offset strategy came into being, they always believed that they were the only power. So the Americans actually believe that their democracy, their ideas, they are the best, and the whole world has to adopt that, and not realizing that America is a nation state. China is a civilization state. China is not a nation. China is a civilization. It will have something entirely different which the Americans cannot have. Thank you.
I will just add a sentence about the reliability of Americans, and there's a difference. One is that America giving undertakings to help others, and here it is others coming to join America. So there's a lot of difference. So this reliability factor doesn't come in as far as things like Quad and AUKUS are concerned, because they are being driven by America itself.
See,
So
it will always be, General Saab, it will always be an unequal partnership with America.
True,
So, ये बोलना to say कि हमारे साथ ठीक नहीं किया, उसके साथ ठीक नहीं किया. I mean, even India has to keep its eyes open.
True.
Because it's a global power still. It is the number one global power. You cannot have an equal relationship with it. It is an unequal relationship, period.
No doubt about it. Heather, you want to ask something?
जी.
Heather, आप पूछना चाह रहे हैं, Heather?
जी. Pravin sir, as everyone knows, that America is establishing multiple alliances against China, and Quad, of course, is one of them. And everyone knows that Pakistan is a very close friend of China. And talking specifically about Quad, so what do you think will be the implications of India being in Quad on the relationship between India and Pakistan?
अब देखिए, if I give you this answer, तो फिर आप मेरी किताब ही कहाँ पढ़ेंगे?
आपकी किताब हम फिर भी पढ़ेंगे अगर आप
ये कुछ चीजें तो मुझे नहीं बतानी होगी. So that don't mind. I mean, you have asked a very good
I think
question.
it will create more interest, and we will be looking forward to that.
बहुत अच्छा सवाल उठाया है, but I will let this pass. Okay.
जी अमाद.
Sir, I have received 2 more questions. One is
okay. Let these be the last 2 questions. Okay.
Sir, okay, sir.
Okay.
The feasibility of Russia, China, Iran, Pakistan working together against the Quad, because they are in talking with each other. How you see?
So you see, how I see this is that the countries you have mentioned, उसमें आप include कर लीजिए, the first tier countries are China, Pakistan, Iran, and Russia. उसके बाद Central Asian Republics है, उसमें टर्की भी डाल लीजिए, वो भी है. So they're not competing with America. They are basically, they see their national interest in working together. That is their national interest. It's in their national interest. And everybody realizes, देखिए, what is happening is, which we have to always, when we do our assessment or when I do my assessment, I always keep this in mind. And what I keep in mind is that there are today only 3 geostrategic players in the world. By geostrategic, what it means is that a nation which has the political will and the capability to operate beyond its geographical territory. And those 3 nations are America, China, and Russia. 2 of them are on one side, and 1 is on the other side. So, अब आप probability देख लीजिए ना, for all the talk, the Americans may say that, look, we are preparing against Russia and China. I mean, it's nonsense. How do you take on Russia and China militarily? It's not possible. You see, one is an economic superpower, plus it is now becoming a superpower in the emerging technologies of war. And the other, as far as nuclear weapons is concerned, is a competitor. So this is where the things go in the realm of, complete nonsense. I'm sure some Pentagon people in the Pentagon must be seized of this, but unfortunately, this is the way they talk. Yeah, your last question.
And the last question is about the concept of 2-front war in India. How far it is likely that America will support this initiative of Indian military or Indian establishment or Indian war strategists who are sitting in the war cabinet, actually?
You see, I would have given a 1-hour talk on this, but अभी आपके चैनल पे नहीं दूंगा वो.
I've heard you. I think you've written also a lot.
No, I've done videos also on this.
Right.
I've done videos also on this. You see, because I want कि जो आपका चैनल है, it should be there for broader distribution.
True.
वो maximum लोगों तक पहुंच जाए. हाँ? तो I will skip this question. Please don't mind.
Thank you, sir.
No, I think we appreciate that. क्यों भाई और कोई बहुत कोई ऐसा बहुत जरूरी सवाल तो नहीं है?
No, sir. I think we have covered everything. जो questions आए हैं, we have covered them.
जी तौकीर साहब, आप कोई बात करना चाह रहे हैं? जी, please.
Just one comment, nothing to do, I think, with war.
Just a comment, okay.
Just a comment. I personally think, and I've been writing, as you know, as well, that Americans have retreated from Afghanistan, but they are not defeated. So their interest is here, and they will use also Quad for this region as well. This is my comment.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Pravin Sawhney, thank you so much. I mean, we are delighted to have you with us, and we are not extending the session because we want you to be with us again. We don't want to scare you. That we don't want to tire you. So actually, the level of intellect that we have seen today, we are very happy that we selected you to be the first speaker as far as our strategic series are concerned. I hope and I wish that you will be coming to us again also whenever and we'll give you more topics. It's good. I think the South Asia is lucky to have you here because your thought is not only it covers a very high level of understanding as far as nature of war and character of war and strategy and all these things. It can also bring the two peoples together, because if this thinking prevails and transcends in the leadership of the two countries, they would also like to understand the futility of the type of war for which we are preparing. So thank you very much. It was a great pleasure, and we look forward to.
I have one comment to make. Last comment, if you allow.
Please.
If you allow me,
Please.
My last comment is, I genuinely want India and Pakistan relations to improve. I genuinely want peace. I want to interact with more and more people, with more and more think tanks, with more and more, people, peace-loving people in Pakistan. I want to travel to Pakistan. I want to do all these things because I feel this is about prosperity of India. I have my national interest in mind. So I'm delighted. It's been my good fortune to have been invited here at your forum. And I'm very happy for your kind words. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And don't be surprised if you get an invitation from National Defense University of Pakistan. Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.